because it's like I was talking about as we've been talking about this entire evening. It's very scripted on viaduct. You just bomb to force the medic, and then you have Uber advantage, and then you take your point back. But they
getting a
really
little bit impatient. They committed their medic,
but they almost capped. Mackie still had a buff on heavy. Can they clean it up? Kraka, Mackie, the only ones left up. The medic is dead again for Doe, so rough situation for them. But Big kind of putting it up to frags rather than just like playing the scripted way. And the frags from Doe, pretty good.
So, they are so close to breaking Doe. They don't have that medic there. That heavy is 17 life. They are so close to breaking this.
Yeah, and Mackie actually took another 6 damage, so he doesn't have crit heals, so he's not going to have any health for a long time. Numbers advantage, health advantage. Doe just, fighting tooth and nail for this point, but looks like the flood of Big might finally be too much, and indeed it is. Okay, like, Big won that round, but I really I don't like how they did it, They had 2 minutes. I think playing slower and not committing the medic would have been a lot more intelligent, because when you play fast like that, you leave it up to fragging, which is more random than, basically guaranteeing that you get the point by doing planned suicides and then pushing with an Uber advantage, which is just fragging, but you have an Uber, and it's way easier.
That's right, and it's even better than a normal Uber push because they have to stay on point. Normally, you Uber in, they run away, you get a little bit of time. But in this case, you Uber in, and they have to come to your Uber. Otherwise, they just lose.
Exactly. So, sitting at halftime here, it's 3-1 for Big Boys, but I wouldn't count Duo out yet. I mean, they had that first round, which I'm going to basically chalk up to the connection issues, and this... Like, they showed a lot of strength in the end of that last round, and I wouldn't say it was too close, because they still had like 2 minutes or 1 minute 30 on the timer. But, they were playing well, they're fragging well, they just need to, well, win 3 rounds in a row, which is going to be tough when the other team is playing close to as well as they are. But, we'll see what they can do. Maybe they can adapt a bit more to the different roster they're running with Blackie medicing. I'm not sure how many times he's played medic over the season or if he has it all, but I mean, I did say before, they have experienced players, they just need to adapt to this new lineup, and then maybe they can make something happen here.
Right, and perhaps it's just Blackie, being rusty at medic, because I remember when we played against him at Invite, he was definitely one of the best medics at living in Viaduct.
Oh yeah, didn't we have that one game where he had like 5 deaths and we were like, oh?
I think that was him.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And then in the follow-up seasons, he was famous for disconnecting on Viaduct, crashing with Finger.
Oh god. Well, his connection's been okay. Maybe he transferred the bad luck over to his team.
Perhaps. But hopefully we see a little bit more Season 6 Blackie Monster and Doe coming back into this game.
Yeah. I opened the stats page, but I mean, there's been a lot of stuff, like switching Demo Man and stuff, so I can't really tell too much from it. Although, Kraka playing really well. He's pulling 310 damage per minute at the moment on Scout. So that's kind of impressive. Showstopper's 410 damage per minute. Is this possible? There's like a ton of people over 300.
Perhaps it's just been a lot of back and forth fighting.
Yeah. Interesting.
Maybe they counted that huge air shot. It was like 1,000 damage.
Actually, funny story. It's not that funny. But anyways, before I wrote the current script that I'm using to kind of let my camera click around to people who are fragging without me having to focus on that and talking at the same time, I wrote one that parsed ESTA stat pages and just diffed between periods to determine what was going on. Unfortunately, ESEA stat pages only update at the end of rounds, so it turned out to be a useless script. But it used to count kills as like an amount of damage, so if you did a ton of damage for not good kills, you could still get watched. But we're moving on to the next bit, so we're just going to leave all that talk behind us and see what's going to happen. Mackie spinning up his heavy here. Do they have a sniper as well? No, just using the heavy to counter jumps. I mean, no jumps coming, but he manages to finish the demo with some nice chip shots. And with a lot of people from Big really hurt, they're just going to be zoned out by Mackie at this point.
Yeah, Thrasher had a nice jump. I mean, it wasn't super effective, but it held the team back, and it had several people hurt. So, you know, both the heavy got position, and people didn't have health to move up into the heavy, and that allowed Doe to take that mid without really being contested too much.
Yeah, nice job from them. Really, when there's no snipers in play, what controls the heavy is the demo man, but the first thing Mackie killed is the demo man after a bunch of spam damage went onto him, so it makes it a lot easier for them. This is a pop, but I wouldn't expect it to work for Big. I mean, they're popping early and into a heavy, so it's going to be rough. Huli should just be looking to survive as soon as that pop went off, and he doesn't manage to make it out, so a little bit of an overcommit on what was clearly a bad Uber from the beginning. And frags go back and forth, but the only guy who dies on Doe is Thrasher, and now Kraka. They've got time on point, but it doesn't really matter. And this late Demo Man death is going to hurt a lot, because that makes it a lot more difficult to enter without those pipes that hurt the other team before you walk in.
Yeah, I would have maybe liked to have seen the remaining people from Big die a little bit earlier. They did get that Demo Man pick, which should allow them to push here before Joe gets Uber, but it may have been able to, the push may have been able to come even a little bit more quickly.
Yeah, actually, they catch Joe big time with Thor picking up 3 frags onto Mackie, Blackie, and Foreign Affairs. And there's a nice air headshot from Click on to Thrasher, so Big going big and taking this point back.
Yeah, really nice job. They found that small window where the enemy demo man wasn't there. That was set up by those last two people fighting instead of running away when Joe had captured the point, and then they took advantage of it.
Yeah, so that really just shows you how viaduct works. It's like, clearly Doe won that fight in the sense of a push map win, but because of the way the spawns worked, because they dropped their demo man, they lost. And now they're going to try to just do the same thing. They have a couple kills on the Big, and now they're just going to move forward. A few people die from Doe, but I mean, I still feel like they have a decent position here. They can clean up this soldier behind, I'm pretty sure, and then their spawns are going to come in pretty fast, so yeah. Soldier goes down, Blackie stays alive. Now it's a 6v4 push. And Klicka going sniper right now means he's not going to be in position for a shot before this combo makes it a point.
I'm not quite sure why Big jumped both soldiers instead of just waiting for the Uber, but you know, those soldiers coordinated very well. They jumped at the same time and they shot the same targets.
Alright, now they're actually going to take back. They go on an Uber siege. No, he was like 98, but that's as bad. Kind of just getting caught there a little bit too far forward with the enemy combo too close. Maybe they lost track of the Ubers or something. They didn't know Big had it quite so early. They thought it was even, perhaps.
Big had it for a while. That's why I was confused why those soldiers jumped in.
I wasn't paying enough attention to like if somebody was not healing or something, but that sucks. Now it's a bomb play coming from Doe, and that's what they gotta do. They actually, I mean, they don't kill the medic, but look, they killed everybody else. They can just take this point. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Big Bopper makes the right play though. He kills Blackie. I mean, as they're losing the point.
And the soldier, this should be a very easy retake off those 2 picks.
Yeah, and Klicka signing Kraka, I believe. Is that a sign?
I think it was.
Although, look at this. Big does lose a few people coming back in. Huli gets low.
Nice serve.
Yeah, actually at this point I want to point out, if they had delayed that cap by a second, they would have been in a much better position in this fight, because they delayed their 2 spawns by 7 seconds when they did it. But that's super hard
Yeah,
to call, so.
that's always something I think about in Viaduct. You know, you wait for your medic to spawn or such before you cap the point, but it's just so difficult to coordinate in the heat of a match.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody does that even in invites, so I'm not going to criticize these guys, but maybe Season 17 we'll see somebody making that play intentionally.
Maybe when players are good. But it's just something to think about, you know, just musings on Viaduct.
Yeah, it's when you think about stuff like this that you come up with the partial cap spawn strategy crap on stand-in that made everybody hate that map, eh?
Yeah, but that's really sort of the way forward for TF2, is if more people start thinking about things like this, then, you know, maybe one day it'll be incorporated into play.
Yeah, hopefully enough people watch the Viaduct cast long enough to hear us digress into this rather elongated discussion about advanced spawn mechanics. But anyways, back to the match. Nice headshot right as the Uber flashes off on Thrasher, but Thrasher's gonna say "Murr" and kill him, but does to demos from Thor, stickies from Thor. Am I not paying enough attention here? Doe's gonna win this. Okay, Doe's controlling the point, and if Big takes this back and wins the round, then they win the match. So Doe has to take this. They kill Bopper. It's one step. They kill Dunce. Big deal. No Ubers for this fight. Their sticks on point. Showstopper's really low, but they've got enough picks. Can they take this back? There's going to be big plays. They're an Uber side.
Big may be in trouble here. Yeah. I feel like... Well, I guess they had to, because the time was so low, but... I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'm confused.
we talked about crap for the middle of that round. That was
yeah. I think... Oh man, it's a new middle. I want to talk about things, but you don't get a break in Viaduct, so we'll just leave it to the end of the game.
Yeah, we've Clicker sniping this mid. Let's see if he can manage to snag a pick. I'm sure the scout takes a miss, but moving over.
5, 4, 3.
Nice shot. 5 points. Okay, so back his head, he's just cutting the line against the sniper and putting a bunch of damage on the team while he does it. Kills the demo.
Yeah, so perhaps Big sort of expected that heavy and ran a sniper straight off the bat, and it seemed to work quite well for them.
Yeah. Okay, so
but Big did drop. Unfortunately for Big, the people that they dropped was when they capped the point, and Doe got their faster spawns.
Yeah, I wasn't paying enough attention to see if our spawn theory could have been applied to that, but I guess they could always get a long time and then do it. Click getting a body shot to finish off Blackie and a nice headshot onto Mackie, so strutting his stuff up here on Cliff, doing a nice job of controlling this round so far.
I seem to have lagged out from the server.
Uh-oh. Well, I'm still in here. I got my huge status monitor to back me up, so we're gonna watch Big's hold at this point. How's the Ubers doing? Big's heads. It's gonna be a suicide play from Doe. And all I saw was Thrasher jump. I'm not sure what the rest of them are really doing. Like, there's no need to wait. They may as well do something with their lives. Will they wait for Uber to build? I guess to some extent they're babysitting Mackie, but I really like seeing more people get aggressive in these situations rather than just hoping for a sniper pick. They do get that pick, but it's a scout who's going to be back in this fight before the Uber's committed. Here's, I believe, it must be Thrasher. Yeah, Thrasher jumping again. He's like the lone suicider. And now they're edging the point with a scout zoning them out, but they don't have a soldier for this push. And okay, Mackie getting headshot in the demo helps a lot, but I kind of feel like 4 out of 6 members of Doe haven't been doing anything for the last few minutes, and I think that's just a misutilization of their players in this strategy. But that said, a bunch of kills.
Yeah, Big just sort of overextended there when they had the point. There was no reason for them to do anything, especially with a sniper.
Yeah. I'm really not sure what prompted them to walk so far forward. I mean, maybe they just wanted to get out to Mackie, get revenge for their demo man, but now Doe holding the point. Uber is pretty even. I'd expect to still see a play out of Big here. I mean, you can choose not to commit your medic and just do a suicide, and that indeed seems to be the play, because it's a lot safer for your medic to move forward once he has the option of saving himself with the pop. I don't see much damage going on onto Blackie, but it doesn't hurt Big at all that they just went 4 down. Their stats are slightly worse, but who cares? If they weren't going to push before Uber, then that's exactly the play they do. They have a chance of killing somebody, and they almost killed Showstopper. They got a bit of damage on the Blackie, and that's just what you need to do in Viaduct, is keep active. So I like how they played that better than Doe.
Yeah, don't be afraid to die when it doesn't affect anything. You'll be up before your Uber push comes out anyways. And also don't be afraid to attack a non-medic in the suicide if you can get that pick. Because, you know, if you don't get that pop, 65 is still pretty good if you're pushing Uber versus Uber.
Yeah, especially if you manage to grab the demo or something like that. Oftentimes demos are much less protected than medics because, you know, the typical suicide always goes for that medic because it's the best pick you can get, sure, but a demo kill is more than enough to sway a fight way in your favor, so that's that. And while I'm talking about that, Big kills a bunch of people and takes the point.
Yeah, and that was the thing I wanted to say last round, is that pretty much last round there was constant non-medic picks being made when a team was out of control, not capping the point, which allowed them to take it back. So, kill whatever you can on the suicide.
Yeah.
And Doe just getting super aggressive, I guess.
They just muscled them out off the numbers they had from that last push because they got the fast spawn thing. So that's what it did.
And Big was running a sniper who didn't manage to hit his shot before they got in his face.
Right. It's kind of the risk of sniper. It's much more difficult to be consistent on it, whereas a scout can, you know, do a lot of damage. Huge pipes from the door, just crushing Doe there. They did so much damage, and they're gonna pop Uber. I don't like that. I don't like Ubering once you've already lost 2 people. You're just guaranteeing that you have a bad Uber.
You could have just allowed Big to cap the point and then, you know, maybe force their Uber and then go back in. I think that would have been the optimal play there, because, you know, if you force their Uber and they're capping anyways, then, you know, you lose maybe 5 to 10 seconds for that one spawn, while you have Uber advantage and are guaranteed to recap the point.
Yeah, I mean, one point you can make here is, like, the time was really close, so maybe they were worried, but, I mean, look at that. Blackie had time to spawn and run back from the point and die, so it would have been better. I mean, it was 1 cap and done no matter what. So it would have been a lot better to fight in the best possible situation once than fighting in a bad situation once and then a really awful situation right after that. And that does it.
Right.
Big 4-2 over Doe.
So we were a lot more familiar with Doe than Big, but Big coming up big and showing they know how to play Viaduct pretty well.
Yeah, man. So you want to do some demos or something? Just kidding.
No, but yeah, I guess we can go over some overall themes for Viaduct.
Yeah, I mean, we talked through a lot of it. I was going to do the sniper line thing at half, and then I didn't do it. You said before how you should push the side the sniper is on. Like, for example, if the sniper is standing on these barrels that I'm floating over now, while I still have this map open on the server, if you're pushing upstairs, then he has no line on you at all, and you can locate him like by peeking any door with a scout or something like that and figuring out where he is, and then you just pick the correct side to push, because if he's there, you know, you come up here. If he's on cliff or this area, you can walk up below cliff using this rock as cover. I mean, rollies are your enemy, but you can just bust through because it's difficult for anybody to get a line on you walking through here. So it's just stuff like that you have to be aware of, because I mean, if the sniper's standing up on the metal thing that I look to on the enemy cliff off in the distance, and you come up your stairs door, you could die, and if he's over on the right side of point, you come out this cliff door, you can die. So pushing the same side lets you get close up into his face a lot easier. It lets you delay your Uber because you can't get shot by the sniper at all. It's just like a better play, and it doesn't hurt to do because it's easily something that a scout can do. Just spot the sniper before you push, rather than trying to push blind, because you generally have plenty of time before you make these pushes because it's just off a suicide or something like that. So yada yada, just do it.
There's really no reason for the medic to be the first class that's going through a certain line of sight. You know, if you're taking that risk that if he does get you, then you lose pretty much a minute of time. And, you know, given that you have 3 minutes, that can pretty much decide a round all by itself. Whereas it really doesn't cost you anything to just peek that scout. You know, the scout peeks. If he dies, okay, he's up in 5 seconds. You lose that medic, he's up in 5 seconds, and then you have to rebuild the Uber on top of it. And now we're kicked out of the server, so it's a lot harder to talk without the map up.
I'm loading the map so I can at least show people what you're talking about. And TF2 crashed. Oh god. Okay, I'll get it back. I think we just have a black screen on stream right now. I'm launching again, guys. Don't worry. But we only have 12 viewers now, so you know. Thanks to everybody who watched so far. Do you want to talk about anything else on Viaduct, or do you think we've elaborated on it enough over the course of the night?
One thing we really didn't see was the half push, which is sort of what we like to do as our default push instead of, you know, the suicide. You know, it's basically a suicide that can turn into a push if it goes really well, but it requires a very observant medic to know when to, you know, turn the half part into running away.
Yeah, once I get this map loaded up, I'll just walk to about I mean, it depends on a lot of things, how far you go during a half push, but in general, you walk partially out of spawn. Like if you're gonna send your combo stairs, for example, you can walk to like here, and this is a good spot to be in for a half push because there's not like that much in way of sniper lines on you, and you can get into the door. You have like good lines on jumpers. You can get into the door if somebody jumps you, and you can buff your team a lot better. And the difference between like a half push suicide— oh my god, I got sent back into spawn. Okay, the difference between a half push suicide and like the suicide where you're super safe and you keep your medic back in spawn while you do it is you have way more buffs on your players as you move in, and your combo is really close. So if, for example, your suicide ends up killing like the demo and a scout right away, then your combo can just walk in and kill them. Like it's super easy to just win the round, or you know, win the push. Whereas when your medic's not at all in a position to commit, you're unable to capitalize on something like that as quickly. You can still— oh my god, I'm disconnected from Mumble. Oh, well, at least I was still talking to the stream. Right? Right? Okay. Oh my god. I didn't even have my thing going. Oh well, I don't know what's going on anymore. Try to reconnect. Whatever. Okay, well, I had the thing off, but yeah, this is the position I meant to talk about. You have like good sight lines, you can buff people. So at least you heard that point. I'm like, my mumble can't get to this server anymore, and I guess for now we have technical difficulties and Steffi can't talk, so I'm just gonna turn this thing off. Thank you all for watching. No, I'm back. I'm not gonna turn it off. Do you want to say anything else?
Oh, okay, you're back. Okay, so the half
I can't.
Oh man, okay. I got echo. I gotta mute the stream.
Okay.
So the half push is most useful when you're at an Uber disadvantage, but they don't quite have Uber yet. So you may not want to commit to a full push because they may get Uber at any second. But if you get those picks, you can either you can just move up, and then if they have it, they'll pop at that point, or you could probably just wipe them all if they're maybe just holding out for those few seconds and you manage to get there before they get the Uber. So either way, it's not very high risk, but it's potentially a very high reward. So, again, you have to be really confident in your medic as well as, your communication, knowing, you have to tell your medic when to get out. But if you can pull that off, you can potentially make something out of nothing.
It's at very worst at very worst you lose your medic and then you're like, oh my god, the round is over. So that's why you have to count on your medic to play it correctly so well. But assuming you don't get that nice situation where you get to just commit your combo right away, at the worst it's just a suicide, but your team has more buffs because they got buffed out here instead of in spawn. And I say this position, by the way, just speaking medic specific, this is generally safe. But if they're playing like up on, up close, you might need to be a bit further back. You have to watch the sniper line from Cliff. And sometimes you can move up so far as here. Like this is when your combo starts to commit. If like the suicide's going far forward and maybe getting ground, you can go up to here as long as you can, back up. You're aware of the enemy team's position. And similarly, you can do this from cliffside. You can like do it from main pretty well. Like this spot's pretty good. Just don't get shot from there. And cliff I do like for it. You just don't get shot from the box on the other side of point, and then you can move up like this far. It's like generally safe against the point hold, but like you have to be really careful with soldiers jumping over bridge. And then you can kind of commit up to here-ish, because it's still like a long jump if the other team's backing up. But that's like, who cares about those details? That's meta crap, but yes.
Yeah, but that just fits into the overall theme of when you don't have the point, you should want to fight. That's the right time to fight. If you're holding the point, you don't want to be fighting a 1v1 battle, because at best, that guy just respawns in 5 seconds. Big deal. But if you go down that person, Uber yet, you can just get muscled out.
Yeah.
So fight. If you don't have the point, you want to fight. Not, don't risk your medic if you don't have to, or at least risk him in a small amount that allows your whole team to have buffs and potentially, wipe them if things start to go well. But definitely look to engage fights when you don't have the point.
Yeah, because a lot of those pushes we saw were just based off of kills that happened as the other team overextended into the attacking team's side. Fighting on your own side as the attacking team is a great thing. The value in that for the defensive team is you can engage in high probability fights if you catch them on the doors. But if you're just chasing frags long after the entry spam is gone, then you're out of position, essentially.
Right, and the benefit of holding the doors is that it sort of prevents those half pushes, which can potentially be really effective. But if you do hold the doors, they can't quite get their medic out to get people buffed. So, there's upsides and downsides to both of it.
Yeah. Generally, if you have the health to do it, then preventing their doors is the best thing, but you have to call it right, because if you try to push up to their doors as they're doing a half push, then your medic is like as good as forced, because they're going to be on your face, and you're going to be like walking forward, and it's going to be bad, and you're not going to have entry spam. It's going to be bad.
Right, and then another thing I want to say is it seemed like the most effective pushes were when the attacking team just sort of ran a scout across and distracted with them, and then just followed up with their heavy classes. And again, that's another one of those low-cost things. Maybe the scout meets somebody and then he wins that 1v1, and all of a sudden you win the push. But if you don't, then you can just back up. Your heavy classes can suicide. You can transition into your next push really quickly. So that's another thing to think about.
Yeah. Also, I'll point out, I mean, it's not that common that you see crits on this map. Like, it's not the best map for crits. I think push maps you can use it a lot better, but we only saw it once tonight, and I think it's good enough to pull out in certain situations, like when you have, you know, not much time left, or like if the advantage swings your way by switching to crits, it can be good. Or if you're just having a hard time forcing with suicides, you just switch crits so you can push faster. Crits also works pretty well with half pushes because, I mean, you have a much higher chance of getting it while the push is still underway. I mean, depends on a lot of stuff, but it can be really good in this map. And I guess the downside of it is, like, it's more difficult to hold with crits, and playing against crits is quite, well, I can't even say it's quite easy, because you just need to hold your medic back and keep him safe so he doesn't die from suicides, and then you can force their Uber from a mile away with the threat of critting on them, and that's that.
Yeah, crits can be really nice if you're really comfortable fighting 6v6 without Ubers, because instead of suiciding, you can just crit, and that forces their Uber without dropping a person, and then you can sort of force, like I said, that 6v6, no Uber.
Yeah, which is a great position for the attacking team, because all you need to do to win that fight is trade like 2 people for 3 or 3 people for 2 or something like that at the start of the fight, and then stall, and then win with your spawns.
So, you know, maybe some of these teams that are having problems keeping their medics alive, or, you know, getting forced really early, they could consider a crits, because a team like Doe seemed to be winning a lot of the times when they would just push, you know, without any particular advantage. But they were having a lot of problems keeping their medic alive in between.
Yeah, it just gives you another tool in your arsenal. Like, I feel in general there's a lot less pressure on you when you have a crits, because it can't get forced. You can, you know, get jumped and die, and that sucks. But you always can use a crits on your terms.
I think that's pretty much all I had to say, other than, you know, if you're using a sniper, that's the centerpiece of your play. You know, if you have the if you want to be really aggressive and jump onto their side as a soldier or something, then, you know, perhaps sniping isn't right for your team, because you really have to just allow that sniper to be putting the forward pressure on the enemy team while you protect them from a scout.
Right. So that about covers it for me as well, so I think we'll call it a night with that. At some point, I will mark up this VOD with times of when each of the 4 matches we watched started, and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll put this on YouTube eventually. It'll be on my Twitch channel, so thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed the casts and the talk. Good luck on your viaduct matches in the future. I'm not sure if there's any more this season. Maybe there's some in the lower bracket, so maybe we're helping the nerds out a bit or something. But
hopefully.
Yeah. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll catch you all guys
thanks, guys.
next time.
Hope you learned something.